All right, everybody, welcome to my first live video for 2018. My name is Leah Selly, and I'm here with my GraffitiEyes Stencils. And today I'm going to introduce to you my O Canada GraffitiEyes Stencil Kit and do a little quick demo on how to use some of the double layer, triple layer stencils designs that I've got in there. So let's take a look here. Here's the stencil kit. It's got two 4x6 stencils in this kit, and I only print little limited runs of it. I've got a patriotic themed one, so that's all the designs that you can get off of the one stencil, little Beaver Canada flag. The other one's more of a French Canadian themed winter carnival, so I got Bonhomme Carnaval and some fleurs de lis. You can paint a little castle. These stencils are made so that you can just boom, quick and easy. You don't even need to take much time to get that done. If you've got more time, then you can put on an outline. I like using a white outline because it really makes it look like a sticker then, you know. J'aime l'hiver. There we go. That means I love winter in French. I don't really love winter, but I thought I'd say it. So there we go. That design, I actually used my big cloud stencil from my Graffiti Madness kit as the background. And you can modify the little peace fingers there that I've got on the patriotic stencil to be grasping a flag. This one here, I thought it kind of looked like an Olympics kind of design for some reason, but I got his little Mountie hat blown off and leaves surrounded it. This one here, more of a fall leaf kind of design versus the more stiff patriotic kind of maple leaf Canada leaves, you know. So there we go. That was kind of a quick real blow through of all the different kinds of designs that we can do with that stencil kit. So let's get started actually painting. Before I get too much into painting and just blowing through it right away, I thought I'd give you guys a little Canadian history lesson. There's the one stencil. This is like my patriotic stencil kit here, and there's our Canada flag. It's red and white, got a big old maple leaf in the middle. I never liked painting it, that's why I made stencils. The beaver is actually a quintessential Canadian symbol. It's our little animal symbol. It's on our 5-cent little nickel. And also, we love Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber, we love you. You're so talented. You can play the drums and sing and play the guitar at the same time. Anyways, my emojis, I have little sunglasses, and I thought, oh, we could outfit him with sunglasses. And then I saw a lot of beavers holding the flag and wearing Mountie outfits. So the Mounties are the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and they ride horseback. They're our federal police, and they also have really funny pants. Those are their real pants. And that's a real background. That's Banff, Canada. That's my old backyard. So it's that beautiful. So there's our patriotic stencil and a little bit of Canadian culture for you guys. So what I'm going to do here is just start painting right away with my stencil. So here we go. You can see I used it a bit. I kind of cleaned it off quickly. So I'll get started and I'll show you actually a couple. I'm not going to like show every single element of these stencils because I want to keep these videos running pretty quickly, you know. But I'm going to show you some of the stuff so that you can kind of see how to make that little beaver face and stuff like that. So I'm actually going to show you like a few different ways of painting him. So I just got some brown here on my sponge. There we go. And I'll paint a few of them for you. So 1, 2. I'll put one guy over here. Yeah. Move that up a bit, and we'll put one guy in the middle here. So here we go. Now, here's a cool little trick. I am going to get some black here on my stencil. or on my stencil, on my finger. I'm going to use a finger dauber, a little piece of plastic, and you can stick your finger in there, and there's a little sponge on the end. So I like to use it for small stencil elements. We're going to stick his face on, okay? Now, where you can place his face, you can actually kind of change the expression of the beaver or your animal with this. So let's put this one, we'll put this guy's face down lower, okay, so closer to the bottom. And what I mean by change his expression is, I guess maybe like change the direction. So watch this guy versus this guy. This guy I kind of put it down lower. This one I'm going to put it closer to this inside edge, his face. So when I line it up, I'm going to kind of line it up really close to that edge. Kind of looks more like he's looking that way, right? So let's try it with this one. We'll kind of look and we'll tip it a little so he'll be looking down. So we'll go closer to the edge and we'll kind of tip it a little. Right? A little bit of magic happening, and we'll get this guy looking up. So we'll kind of put his face closer up to the top. Boom. It's like the Brady Bunch of beavers, hey? I just said hey, and I'm doing Canadian video. I can't believe I did that. Anyways, there we go. There's a bunch of beavers for you. And that was worth the time of just watching this video right now, just seeing how you can kind of twist the face around and line it up and get a whole other kind of look to it. Different kind of atmosphere. Also, it's handy because think about when you're painting their faces, if you're going to put it on their cheek or something, just like when you're painting a design, like getting a tattoo, the artwork's always facing in towards the body. So if you get a dragon tattooed on your arm, the head's going to be facing like towards your body. So same thing, if you're going to paint a little beaver on their cheek, then you can have the face kind of looking a little bit more towards the kid's face or looking up towards their eye or something like that. Or if you're going to paint the flag in their hand, then you can have him looking like up towards the flag or something like that. So I'll show you really quickly. So that's step 2. First step is putting the head on. Step 2 is putting the face on. And then we got a little tooth under here. So same thing, I'm just going to use a little finger dauber. Put some paint on there. And, we'll just stick the tooth on. Same thing, so if his face is kind of tipped that way, you just rotate your stencil around. There's a little dip. Where's my little paintbrush? I'll use it as a pointer. So this little upside down V shape here, line it up with the tooth stencil. And there's his little beaver tooth. Ah! Okay, same thing. Go stick it on this one just for fun. And this guy, if you just leave him like that, doesn't he kind of look like a bear? Maybe? So, maybe not all kids ask for beavers, do you know what I mean? But they might ask for a bear, and you could use this little stencil as a bear stencil. And I'll tell you what else, if you put your paintings on a card, I don't have a card sample of this one with me actually, but this was like a little snowman that I did before. If you put these in a little menu book, like a little photo album, and so when you're practicing, you're actually making a menu, and then kids will ask for it. They'll be like, give me that beaver, give me that bear, or whatever. And then they will ask for obscure things that you want to paint. Okay, so this guy here, what I'll do is instead of just painting his tooth on right away, I'll show you how to do, I'll give you a couple of ideas for some other things here. So I'm just going to load up some brown on a paintbrush and paint a super generic little body. That's a super generic body, if I've ever seen a super generic body. Now if I was painting this on a kid's face, I would probably use black, but because I'm practicing on a little black board here, I'll use brown. But the little paw prints here, you can just stick his little feet out to the side. So you can see if it was done in black, it would be pretty cute, hey? But you go like that and like this. And what we're doing is we're just creating an illusion of, feet. And you don't have to even paint legs. You can just cheat like that. If you can also paint them kind of facing like more onto the body. Don't so they're kind of like sitting straight up. Here his legs are kind of like tossed out to the side or whatever. But there's some little footprints. I'll show you guys how to work with the little hand here. I got a little peace finger. Get some white on here. So the flag, oh no, not the flag, the peace fingers, sorry, live. Peace fingers, let's chuck the peace fingers out. So if you think about it, your thumb, like when you're doing it so it looks good, and you know, like if you could do it anyway, but think about it logically, like you know, like would you give peace fingers like this with your thumb out or like this? Do you know what I mean? So have the thumb on the inside closest to the body and it'll just look good. And tip it to the side a little bit so there's kind of like more flow and action to the stencil or to the scene. Oh, it's kind of blurry a little bit. I blurred that one out. I would fix that with a little bit of an outline or just move along really quickly. So when you blur it like that, usually what happens, I made a mistake on the camera. Usually what happens is a little bit, so I painted on this side, a little bit will end up going over on this side. Always wipe off that underside because if you go on to do it again and you get a perfect transfer and you put it down and there's some paint on the other side, you're just going to be going, no, double dope. Here, let's paint it again so it looks good. Nice transfer. Nice transfer. So same thing. Okay, so on this hand, I'll put the flag in his hand. So same thing. You want to have the hand kind of positioned so that it makes sense. So when you're doing that, just actually pretend to hold a flag for a second. And oh, my thumb's on top here, right? There we go. My thumb's on top here, right? So when you're going to hold a flag, hold it so your thumb's, or position the stencil hand so that the thumb's on top. So I'm actually going to rotate it. And then if I hold it like this, obviously the arm is going to be facing the wrong way, so I'm going to flip it over, okay? In order to not transfer any paint, usually what I do is I just give it a rub with the back side of my sponge, and I don't necessarily bother with like washing the entire stencil and being all kind of crazy about having no paint on the other side. I just kind of wipe it off with the dry side of my sponge a little bit, get the worst of it off, and keep moving so that we can keep moving. So thumb side up, and making sure the hand's knuckles out, right? And so this is what I'm going to paint so that he's holding the flag, right? So I'm going to catch those bottom two fingers and the hand and the thumb, and then I'm just going to catch a little bit of the two fingers, the two little peace fingers, so that they're not sticking out so much. I have way too much paint on that sponge, and I blurred out his thumb, so I apologize, but it's not that bad. Okay, so the fingers, you can use a little paintbrush if you want, and you can make them a little bit rounder, or not worry about that at all. I would probably myself, I wouldn't worry about filling in the fingers more to make them look more. I would probably just hit it with a little bit of black outline, and with your black outline what you can do is you can cut them while you're, it's kind of a little bit weird to paint black on black, but I get this paint to dry a little. I would cut them with a little black outline like that, after the fact, right? Okay, good enough. Stop fussing around with it, Leia. Let's just go. Now I'm fussing with it because I want it to be perfect for you guys. Bye. Okay, anyways, I think, do you know how many times I practiced this video? And because it's live, there's no like undos, but there's going to be an undo right here. I'm going to wash this off and just do it again so that it's nice and perfect for you guys, because there's a point where you just got to say, I'm going to start with a whole new sponge because I had way too much paint on that one and messed it up. And you know what? Everybody makes a little mistake once in a while. I'm going to switch to a sponge. I'm actually like way more proficient with a sponge than I am with the those finger daubers. I just use them because I know you guys like them and like to see it being used. Okay, so when I'm going to paint a little tiny area like this, I make sure I squeeze my sponge and make this really tiny. Okay, so squeeze it, make it really tiny, catch those two top fingers, just the knuckles, and there we go. See, look at that. I know how to use a sponge. Those little daubers, sometimes they just drive me crazy. Okay, so like I was saying, you can hit this with a paintbrush and make those little knuckly bits a little bit rounder here if you want, or just fix it with your black outline. Okay, now that I've wasted all kinds of time fussing all over those fingers, let's keep it rolling so we can paint that flag. Okay, so in order to paint the flag in his hand and for it to be like really good positioned, what you're gonna do is line up this square and this flag. It's a two-part stencil to do the Canadian flag, okay? This line up with his knuckles here, this inside part of the white centerpiece of the Canadian flag, okay? So just, you can see the hand there, and you can just line it up and raise it up so that there's room for the flagpole, okay? So we'll just stick it there. Like so. Thanks for joining me on my Facebook Live video. I'll post this to YouTube, so you guys will always be able to easily find it for easy reference. Step 2 is the centerpiece of the flags. This little maple leaf in the center is kind of the reason why I even thought to make this kit, because I did not like painting maple leaves and I did not like painting the Canadian flag because it was a pain, like trying to make these little maple leaves all the time. They look more difficult than it appears. And so I was like, stencil. So the center of the flag, you can see it fits perfectly. That white square fits perfectly with this part of the flag. Now, red on top of black does not show up that great. So basically on these edges, I'm just going to make them wet. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glitter on here so that it really shows up for the video. Spread that glitter out with a sponge. Hey! Bam, 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 bam. That's how our Canadian anthem starts. Oh, Canada. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, so a little flagpole. I'll just use some gray. So from the very top of the flag and stick it in his hand. Look at that. That's so easy. You could put like a little thing on the top of it if you want. There we go. He's holding the flag. Oh, I forgot to put the tooth on that guy. So you paint the body first because his tooth is going to overhang over top of his belly a little bit. Like so. Did you see what I did? I used this finger dauber tool that I just totally don't like, and I blurred out that stencil again. Why do I use the finger dauber when I don't like it? Because loads of people do like it, so I try and, you know, use a variety of tools. And some of you guys do not like using sponges with stencils. And some of you guys love the dauber. So what would I do in the field if this happened? I would just use this paintbrush and fix it. I can't believe I am continually making blunders here. Anyways, there we go. Here's a little tooth. And stick a little paint on top of that. There, wow, fixed. Amazing. Yeah, I would probably put his feet black right on top of his belly like that, so it doesn't look so bare there. Bare. What you could do is you could put texture on his belly. So if you have another stencil kit, like if you have the Graffiti Madness kit or the GraffitiEyes kit, there's all kinds of different textures on there. But you can use this halftone as well, and you can just like line it up on his belly and use a darker color brown and stick that on, and then he's got like some fur kind of, and mixes it up. Makes it look interesting. Let's stick the hat on so you guys can see how to work that hat around. I painted a couple of bears here, so we'll stick the hat here. So a couple of ways that you can line it up. This guy's looking down, so he's got a little bit more forehead room. So you can lower the hat down, and his ears will be kind of popping out of the hat, so it'll look kind of like a cartoon where the ears are kind of coming out. So that's neat. There we go. Make sure there's not too much water on there. You can paint him so his hat's like popping off. I kind of like doing this, so it's like, ah! It's like an excited hat's popping off. What else can we do? What else can we do with the stencil kit? I don't know. There's leaves here. Leaves are pretty self-explanatory. This one's more, they're like more like a Canadian maple leaf patriotic kind of style versus this. These ones here are more like fall leaves, right? And they wrap around, so they'll fit nicely like to frame out a mask or something like that, right? All right. I'm just going to flip to the live chat here and see if there is any. Somebody said, as a new face painter, I have a hard time stenciling on a face. Any tricks? Thanks. From MI. I'm guessing MI is Michigan. I've been learning a lot about American geography and I'm pretty proud that MI is Michigan. All right, so face painting with stencils on a face, tricks for new artists. I say practice on paper. Practicing on paper, you get the same level of wetness that you need to get a nice transfer on paper. This is a piece of plastic, so it's a little bit different. Like, it's a lot easier to make mistakes on here because it doesn't dry or absorb, you know, as quickly and nicely. But I've personally found that painting on paper and painting on skin is the same level of wetness that you need on your sponge. So it's really good practicing on paper. Also, like I said, practicing on paper, you can cut out all your paper designs then and stick them in a book, and like a photo album kind of book, and then you can toss that on the table when you're out painting a gig, and kids can flip through it. And then you can kind of make it as complicated or simplified as you want when you're in the field. And if you practice on paper over and over again, then you've practiced your designs and you know your stencils, so you can do a really good job there once you're in the field. But it's just practice, yeah. So that would be my advice: is practice, practice. Yay! And same poster, April, who asked the question about being a new face painter and stenciling tips, just mentioned that she's taking my class. I do. I have workshops coming up. So make sure to go and check it out. My website's right there, GraffitiEyes.com. I've got a page on workshops. And 2018, I am going around and I'm going to be teaching face painting. So my videos here that I'm going to be doing are going to be like this, where I'm practicing on paper or a practice board or a practice head. If you want to get way more tips and tricks about actually working on skin and getting designs painted out on faces and stuff like that, come to class, come to class, come to class. There's nothing like having one-on-one help. All right, so let's clean off these guys. And I'm just using some water here. And then we'll paint the next round, and I'll show you how to use those other stencils. I do not see any more questions in chat. So let's go on to the next stencil. We're going to do the blue one. Blue is French Canada. And this one I got winter theme, so I got like a castle and fleur de lis and some snowflakes. Fleur de lis is on the Quebec province flag, and so that's how we went with that. There is a map of Canada with Quebec in there. That's French-speaking concentrated Canada versus English-speaking Canada. We're a bilingual country, so that's why I made like Frenchy themes. There's Bonhomme Carnaval. He is the mascot of Carnaval. And that's who's on the stencil kit there. He lives in an ice castle. They build these massive structures. People line up to go in them. There's huge parties at night, music festival, because it is Mardi Gras season. Carnaval happens at that same time of year. So hence another great reason for having the Fleur de Lis stencil on there is having, it just worked out really well. I had a lot of Americans ask me for Fleur de Lis stencils. So There's a little bit more Canadian culture and history, kind of explaining my stencil shape choices that I put on here. So let's go over this really quickly. Here's one fleur de lis shape, cluster, I guess you could call it. This has kind of a nice bend in it, so it can frame out on the side like a mask, you know, like around the side of the eye, versus this one where it's more of just an explosion of little Mardi Gras fleur de lis, and that can be stuck anywhere, like along a cheekbone, looks really pretty, anywhere in a mask, like over top of the eyebrow or something like that. So you use a split cake when you do that. Boom, one stroke, and then you've got your like Mardi Gras colors on there. Boom. Super easy, super fast. Ladies love it. Imagine doing this with some like purple ones and some yellow ones, or gold and some green, and then having them all glittered up. They love it. All right, my snowflakes. Kind of got my snowflakes bent around and some extra little dots in there. Looks cute. Looks nice. Loving it. And here's Bonhomme. He's got a toque, his face, and or this is like his head and then his face. So let's just do it, and I'll show you guys how to do the castle too. I didn't like painting castle tops, like the turrets, whatever they're called. So that's why I thought I'd throw the castle on there, because it comes in handy when what I do is I'll paint a little if they want princess or something like that, and I want to paint it really quickly. I will paint this little castle and then paint kind of like a little bit better than a stick man, but then I can paint a pretty simple little princess, kind of like standing on top of the castle, and then paint some hearts around her or something and tell a little story about it. All right, so let's just go through Bonhomme here. Make sure my fingers are clean. Okay, Bonhomme, he's got a white head because he's a snowman. All right, there's a little song. Bonhomme, bonhomme, sais-tu jouer? Bonhomme, bonhomme, sais-tu jouer? Sais-tu jouer ce violon-là? Sais-tu jouer ce violon-là? Zing, 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 ce violon-là. You got to repeat it. Bum, 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 ce tambour-là. It goes on. It's funny how many little songs you remember from being a kid. Okay, this hat, see how it's bent? Like there's two like marks for his eyebrows and his face, and so you just line it right up like that, and it sits right up against him. This is not Santa, all right? So there's no white fluffy bit. This is Bonhomme, and it's like a toque that he wears, all right? And his pom-pom is red as well. It's not Santa. Again, red does not show up the greatest on the black practice paper, so put some glitter on there. Boom. Now for his face, let's get, I'm not going to make that same steak with that little spongy deal thing, or not the sponge, the dauber. Driving me crazy daubers. Use a little sponge. Okay, so his face, again, keep in mind that those are his eyebrow bumps there. So make sure to try to line up his eyes on his eyebrow bumps. So he's kind of looking a little bit upwards. Like that. There he is. Yay, Bonhomme. We can put his little mitten out. Technically, Bonhomme's gloves are all white, but we'll make this one a little bit red. I do like my snowflakes because they bend around, so they look more like action is happening than just some of those random snowflake stencils that are out there. And they're tipped, so they kind of look more like they're falling instead of just like stamp, stamp, stamp. You know, they all look straight on stamped. So, oh, sorry, there you go. Don't they kind of look like they're like kind of like cascading downwards a little bit? Let's see what else. There's a boot print for some footprints in the snow, but that's pretty. The rest of these guys are pretty self-explanatory, doing the fleur de lis and stuff like that. I want to show you guys the castle, how to do the castle, because there's a little trick to make it go really fast, of course. So get this on there, And I should have double loaded my sponge before I got started. Give me a second here to get some blue. I'm going to use like some bluey for shadow. Okay, so I'm going to shadow this under bit. My blue, I ended up picking up more gray than blue. And then the sides of each of these little bits of turrets. So I'm, again, like pinching my sponge like really small, okay? And then I'm just going to give a little like shadow on the corner side of each of those little turrets. Yeah? Yeah. Then you can still use your sponge to just like draw down the rest of this castle really fast. Like so. Tap on a little highlight there. Yay, so that's easy, right? If you get a nice clean transfer like that, you don't always even need to have an outline for it. The rest of it you could use, I don't know, I'm so used to airbrushing too and using a guide, so you can create a wall like that. Snowman needs a wall. No, he doesn't. Or you could just use your stencil plane, you know, or not stencil, use your sponge plane and just kind of pull down, pull across like that to make a wall. You can, let's see, I'll show you guys a couple of different techniques. You can use one of these stencils. I showed you this one earlier. I just painted out the white and put the flag on top of that. There's some different kinds of bricks in here too, so you can add to your painting some bricks, right? You could use different colors so that you got like blue bricks so it looks more icy. I have another stencil too. This is from the Ultimate Graffiti Eyes kits. It's a lot smaller, and so these little bricks, they'd fit on the castle turret. That does not have enough contrast for the camera. Let's see. I wonder if like really white would show up. Yeah, that shows up better. Plus it's an ice castle, so might as well put white on there. And even if you use both sizes of bricks, kind of looks cool. I also tend to kind of do something like that where it's like bricks kind of coming down off of where the negative, into the negative space. It looks really cool like that, I think. Anyways, so there we go. You can outline the little turret more if you want. So get a little paint going on my paintbrush. So there's some subtle bumps here that kind of have the underside. Kind of do it like a mushroom. We're angling your lines outwards, you know. And then because we put that shading on the sides of the turret, you can kind of give a little illusion like that, like it's tipping. Yeah. Let me get a little bit more on here. I can put a little lines there. You can freehand paint some little divider lines in between your bricks if you want. Or this stencil has like little divider lines too that you can stick on there. Let's see. Get a little black going and make this happen. So this is like the mortar, more like mortar, right? So it really looks like something. What else can we do? It's a snow fort, so you can make some snowball ammunition. I'm just painting all kinds of different ideas on here. This isn't like a face paint design, but you know, like I said, I just want to give you guys some ideas on how to actually use these stencils so that you can like run with them once you get them in the mail. Use one of these finger dauber things and just watch how many snowballs I can put on in a super fast minute. right? That's a lot of munitions. That's a lot of ammo. Right? You could probably even build like a snowman if you wanted to. Make a big one. And then make a medium-sized one. And then make a little one. Ooh, snowman. It's as big as a castle. It's a huge snowman. Anyways, what else is on this stencil? That's it. That's it for the complicated stuff. The rest of it is just stuff for you to have fun with. And yeah, let's see if there's any more there's no more questions in the chat here. So I think that we will just move on to conclude this video. So thank you so much for joining me in this video. Thanks for watching it all the way to the end. If you like this, give me a little thumbs up. This was a live production that I managed to pull off with minimal mistakes. And so give me a little shout out, comment if you liked it. Give me a like, otherwise I won't bother making any more videos. I'm only going to be focusing time and attention on areas of video production on products where people are actually engaging me. So engage with me and let me know what you liked about the video, ideas for future videos. I got loads of ideas, but I like to hear about other people's ideas too. If you're watching this on YouTube, because I'm going to upload this to YouTube, click on the little subscribe button and click on the little bell so that it'll actually show up in your new videos area. I am / the Tattooed Lady CA. CA is for Canada. That's my YouTube handle. If you're an Instagrammer, go to @GraffitiEyes and remember to hashtag your photos with Graffiti Eyes. There's a lot of power in hashtags and your voice is important and can be heard, and I love to feature other artists' artwork on my GraffitiEyes Instagram page. So make sure to go there. There's thousands of pictures from loads of artists from all over the world using these stencils. So I really like to share that and feature other people's artwork with it. What else have I got? I think that's it. Check out my website, and thank you for supporting my artwork. I appreciate you guys so much, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon. And I know that if you actually made it this far, your minds have been blown.